Okay, Applied Web Design, we're working on WordPress development. Very ongoing, long set of tutorials. Today I want to go over adding a template for your child theme. But before we do, we should be aware of how does WordPress put together a theme in the first place? So I'm going to close this window. And there's a great website link called Anatomy of a WordPress Site. And I want to just kind of focus on that right here. And so what you'll see here on this particular web page is it shows you all the different files that make up a WordPress site. Okay, and if you look at, if you go into your web matrix and you look at your files, you can see every one of these that are identified here. So the first thing on Anatomy of a WordPress theme is in any given page, you're going to have a header, which is its own file. And then you usually have a thing called the loop, which is basically going to pull like the most recent posts to your website. And then many times they'll have a sidebar, and they'll always have a footer. And so you can put different files in based on where you're going. Okay, so the header will have all of the HTML files. So let's take a look at the header on here. I'm going to go to Files on the WordPress site. So I'm looking at my child theme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the whiteboard theme. So it's under WP Content, Themes, Whiteboard. Okay, this is how the theme gets created. You can see all these different files here. Let's move this over to the right a little bit. So what you can see here is you see header here. Well, there's header. Let's take a look at it. So you open up the header page. Okay, so let's look at header.php. Notice doc type, so that's the first thing you see. Notice HTML5. And then you'll see some PHP code here and there, like language attributes, title. It has this whole set of code to decide how it's in a title. See meta tags, links. Okay, if you need a link to a new style sheet, you would add it in here. You need any meta tags, you can add it on here. And then, so there's a bunch of links to different style sheets. Then you have a body tag. So you notice in the header, it actually starts the body tag. It's not just the head content. So you'll see a div with the class of home. Then you'll see this div with an ID of main, an ID of header. And you'll see things like a div with the container. We have this thing where if it has a header image, it gets it right here. If you wanted to sandwich that in a different tag, you could add it there. And you have a bunch of stuff, and basically it ends at div class equals container on the header. And if you want to do any modifications to your header page, you would do it in here, but not in this file. You just make a copy of header.php and put it in your own style. We'll do that in a moment. Okay, but I just wanted to show you what the header looks like, and it's just part of a page, it's not the whole thing. So the loop, we'll go into that on another tutorial. Hold on a second. Sidebar, you get the idea. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple other files that you might find in a WordPress theme. If you see a file called index.php, that's usually designed to modify what the home page looks like. Okay, so it says here it has a loop that queries and displays most recent blog posts with a link at the bottom to view previous posts. And then you have a single page. That would be if someone posts one, for when you want to click on a post and read the full article and you're just looking at one post, that would be single because it's a single post. Notice it says post here. Notice page is for any pages. Remember how you created a new page? And sometimes you create posts. So if you create a single post, it goes to single. You create a page, it uses this one here. Archive would be like what it will do on a WordPress site is it'll gather up all the posts based on year, month, and categorize them that way. It's just for old posts. If you want to see everything that was posted a year ago, you could go to the archive and you'd see that. Category would be if you have a bunch of posts that belong to one category, that's where you would style the HTML and the CSS and all that good stuff. And then tag would be for individual tags. You can, if you want to create a tag, you can do that. Okay, so I'm not worried about tag. We're not going to focus on all of that. I just wanted to show you what the different files are. But every one of these files you can find in the child theme. So let's go back here. So you look here, you can see all those, and there's a few extras, like 404. That would be if a page can't be found. So index is supposed to be the home page. So double click on index.php and let's look at that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. The first thing you'll see on any page that is not the header will be PHP Get Header. So this little line of code basically tells PHP to grab the header file, which is header.php, and stick all of its contents right there at the beginning. Okay. And then you'll see some tags you recognize and PHP code. Okay. So let's take a look and see if our home page is using index or not. And we're going to do a fun little test. So what I want you to do is right-click on index.php and choose copy. Okay. You need to be in the parent theme, which is whiteboard. So you got to make sure you're in whiteboard header, or not header, sorry, whiteboard index. Right-click, copy it. Once you have it copied, go to your child theme. So I'm going to open that folder here, and I'm going to right-click and choose paste. So basically, my child theme now has index.php, and I'm going to edit that page and see if my home page has it. So notice down at the bottom it has get sidebar, then it has get footer. I'm going to add right in content, I'm going to put my own little tag here just to test it out. I'm going to put a header 1. This is index.php. And I'm going to save that header 1 right in the div with an ID of content. I want to see, is this the page we're seeing on the home page? So I've made my change. Now I got to go back to the WordPress site, wherever it may be. Here it is. And hit refresh. And I'm going to look for that header 1 that says page. Or whatever I said. This is, yeah, there it is. This is index.php. So that's where it placed it, because it's after the header. Remember we had the header? So right there it showed me that I got this working. And that index is indeed the home page. See how that works? This is making sense to you guys? Do you feel like you get it? So honestly, the first time I did a child theme, I had no idea what file did what. I didn't have a good resource. I just stuck headers in every page saying, this is this page, this is this page, this is this page, and I figured out where everything was. And it helped me understand how the whole thing worked. So if all else fails, stick like a header 1 there, put some strange content, and save your changes, and then view your site, and then you can find out what page you're looking at. Once you've figured it out, delete it, okay? Because that's going to be something that's going to cause problems down the line. You don't want to leave a tag like that. And go ahead and save your changes. If you go back to your WordPress site and hit refresh, that will go away. It's also important to know where it places that stuff, right? Noticing that it placed it under the header is good for you to know to make sure you're doing it right.